So we're talking about Canada's serious drug problem with documentary filmmaker Aaron Gunn. Aaron, before the break, I was talking about how one of the great things about your two videos is that you actually put on your shoes, walked the streets, went into the East Hastings area in Vancouver. You talked with people that are living on the streets to hear their stories, talking to people that were victims of crimes and so forth to really, I think, understand what was happening at the grassroots level. Could you tell us, first of all, are there any stories that really stand out in your mind from sort of the drug user perspective, people that you talk to?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we had very compelling conversations with, as you pointed out, people still living on the street. We also had very powerful conversations with individuals who were recently on the street and are now in recovery. One of the things that came up while we are chatting with homeless individuals, particularly in the BC city of Nanaimo, was how for them and the police and some of the bylaw enforcement people introduced us to individuals who had been homeless for a while in the city. So they had kind of a
Mm-hmm.
longer lens with which to view the recent changes. And what was so shocking was how blunt they were with us and my camera crew about how bad things have gotten from a public safety perspective. I mean, these are people that have been living on the streets in some cases for 5, 6, 7 years, and they've said this. They've never seen it this bad. That 9 out of 10 homeless people, for example, were carrying knives. That there were random violent attacks, and we have to remember, obviously we see these impacting the general public every single day in Canada, but no one is victimized more than other homeless people themselves. So that was a really powerful interview. And then also hearing from them just how many people they've lost from overdoses. I mean, the one individual we chatted about said in the last 2 weeks, 5 people that were relatively close to him had died from overdose. And to hear those shocking numbers is really a wake up call. And just shows how devastating the situation is. We also noticed that, quite frankly, some people on the streets were in different levels of denial. Some were quite frank about the problem that they had, that they were addicted to fentanyl. Others were
Mm-hmm.
less forthright and more cagey, and clearly still in that kind of denial part of their battle and struggle with addiction. So it was very interesting. It was very compelling. It was very unnerving at times, especially in Vancouver's downtown east side. But you have to
Mm-hmm.
go to the heart of it if you want to get the true story.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did that. I've done the drive by myself so many years ago when I was in Vancouver. She showed me what was going on. I couldn't believe it. It was just, it looked like you're driving through a zombie land with countless people that are just, high on various drugs, and it's sad to see what they're going through in that. But obviously we need some changes. We'll get to that in a moment. But on the other side of this coin, you've got a lot of people that are victims because these users are doing whatever they can to get their hands on these substances, whether it's breaking into pharmacies or stealing people's things, attacking people. What were some of the stories from victims that you heard that really kind of put you back in your seat?
Yeah, well, there's two ways that drugs are fueling this kind of violent crime wave we have in Canada. Violence up 32% since 2015. One is for individuals committing various crimes to get money in order to buy their drugs to feed their addiction, which can reach up to $300 a day. Um,
Wow.
and the second is kind of drug-induced psychosis, which is causing some people to light fires uncontrollably, other people to smash windows uncontrollably, other people that violently attack, stab, or even murder individuals. Probably the most powerful story, though, that I chatted with was a woman, a mother named Barbara Persaud out of Chilliwack, BC. Her son was a victim of a random violent attack by someone who already had over 50 prior criminal convictions, many of them
Wow.
violent, many of them with a knife. Uh, Her son had gone to help a Good Samaritan, someone else who had been stabbed, and then he himself was stabbed by this individual 14 times through the heart, killing him. And as shocking as that was, that this guy was already out on the streets, and to see the pain in this mother's eyes, what was even more shocking was after this murder, uh, the culprit, the individual who committed the crime, received only 8 years in prison, like for this additional crime. And then because you get statutory parole after 2/3 of your sentence, and you receive time and a half for the time you serve, kind of pre-trial, he was out in less than 6. So for murdering, taking somebody's life after you already have 50 previous convictions, he only received an additional 8 years, which to me was truly shocking. And you could just see the pain in this individual's eyes. So it was quite sad to see. But so that would probably be the most powerful interview that I conducted.